Hey, what's up YouTube? Alright, today we need to get ready to take out the engine. I am gonna switch, I'm gonna turn the car around, have it facing toward the inside of the garage, maybe clear out some of this space for the hoist, and let's get started. Alright, I got the car turned around, and there are many ways you can tackle. You know, you can start from the rear, start from the front, and do all that kind of stuff, but I'm going to try to give you the most detailed. All the videos I've seen have been time lapses, and while they're good, I mean, they might miss a couple steps, or you can't see a couple steps, and things like that. So I am going to break it down just like I'm doing everything else, pretty much bolt by bolt. And I'm going to start off with releasing the fuel pressure. All right, same thing goes when you did the fuel pump. If you watched that one earlier, if not, let's try to stick it up here or up here. I don't know, put it in one of the places. But what you need to do is pull off the fuse box, and you want to take off the number 3. As you can see, there is the fuel pump, and it is a 15 amp. So let's get that off. And as you expect, again, you just go to the third one, which is a 15, and it is a blue. And we'll go ahead and run the engine just to get the fuel pressure out till it stalls. It should stall pretty fast. There it goes. Just getting all the fuel out. All right, and that's it. Now let's get the battery out. If I need to explain to you how to take a battery off, I think this is a little bit out of your scope, but let's get it off. Because we want as much room as possible, just taking the battery cables off is not enough. We just want to clear up some space. We may not actually need it, but it's easy to take off, and why not? All right, just push your thing down. Okay, in order to take off, we have our battery support, and got two 10 millimeters. Got our 10 millimeter bolt and our 10 millimeter nut. All right, get our stay off, lift it out. Now the battery's out. The next thing I can take off is the air intake. I have a clamp down here that goes onto the throttle body. This should be probably an 8 millimeter or a screwdriver. Got the 10 millimeter bolt here. Got 2 hoses to take off, undo the mass airflow, and then I'll unbox the air box just to take that piece off. Then I'll work on getting the bottom piece of the air box off. Okay, so I'll walk you through one more time. We have this connection here to the throttle body. You have to take this vacuum hose out. Take off these vents. These, if you have them, if you have the stock, take off the mass airflow, take off the core support, unsnap the 4 tabs, and then there also is one more wire connection right here that you got to take off. Wanting to keep the stock air intake, the upper and bottom, intact, what you'll do is you'll take off the air filter, and you'll have 2 bolts there, and then a bolt here, and then you'll have your clip here. With the stock air box bottom half taken out, I went ahead and put the 2 nuts back on the bottom, put the bolt on the top, and I'm going to go ahead and reattach the bottom to the top and just put it in the trunk for later, because I don't know, maybe sell it if someone wants a stock air box, or if they don't have one and they need one, they'll be able to use this one. There we go, off into the trunk. Normally, or what I would prefer to do now, is to go ahead and get the radiator drained and take off the radiator and the fan shroud and get that all ready to pull out. But my container is still full of oil that I gotta go recycle. So instead, I'm gonna start taking off some of the wiring. So I'll start with taking off all of the wiring up in the front. Now, the distributor wiring. There we go, there's one. Get the other one off. Got the stay. We have the engine coolant temperature sensor for the gauge, as well as for the ECU. And take care of taking these off. That way you're not breaking clips. So if you are rebuilding the KA, you know, obviously you'll want to use the harness again. And the throttle body. Throttle position sensor and stuff like that. There is a ground. Come over here and show you the ground. All right, so I got these off. Got all these off the front of the engine. And then there's a ground right here. I believe that's probably a 14. All right, I went to take off this ground and it was actually already pretty loose, which kind of scary. I guess it was still ground enough to run okay, but it's a 14 if you needed to know. Lift the wires above, and I'll go ahead and put the bolt back in there just so I don't lose it. All right, after the ground's off, let's get the fuel injector wiring off. It is being pain nice and hard. There we go. Two, three, and these are still zip tied, so I need to get those off. And it still actually has all the EGR crap on it, because, well, I mean, at the moment I live in a emissions state or county, so I am going to take off this EGR stuff to allow me better access to fuel injector number 4. Okay, with a little bit of tugging and getting in on the back side, I was able to get injector 4 out. I'm not going to touch the EGR stuff. I'm going to just leave it connected to the engine, because I mean, why worry about taking it off? I'm not going to use it. Worry about the next guy, maybe he wants it or not, I don't know. But I do need to get all these plugs that are connected off. And have one here that can't seem to see the connected on the back. I don't want to just yank because I don't really want to break anything. But some of the zip tie stuff I'm just pulling out. It came off its stay, so there we go. There we go. It's probably part of the EGR stuff as well. Let's see, there's also the O2 sensor down on this side. That it is saying it wants to be taken off. And there's also a ground on this side as well. So let's get that ground off. It's on the back of the block, right above the exhaust manifold. Probably don't need an extension. I think this is a 14 actually. The ground I'm referring to is right, see if you can see it. It's right there, and it's a 12 millimeter, where the front one is a 14. That's Nissan for you. Don't give you the same size ground bolts. Let's get the ground out. This is attaching the O2 sensor wiring and then grounding it to the block. There's a loom behind the block, and that's what I'm getting off. Okay, take off the ground, put the bolt back in so don't lose it. This wiring loom just pulls up. The harness is still zip tied in along the firewall. And it's actually still screwed in right here too. And that looks like a 10. And as you can see, there's no ABS on this car. This is, like I mentioned before, a base model. You know, I wouldn't mind trying one with ABS. Maybe ABS would be a little better for autocrossing, but just for everyday and drifting, and get those wheels locked up, get those brakes locked up. Nah, it's all right. This is day one of the actual tear down and build video. My roommate, or my old roommate, my buddy now lives in Texas, he's betting me that it'll take a year for me to get this swap done. I sure hope not. All right, well, now that I got that off, this will kind of come loose, but I need to get the windshield wiper plug off. There we go. And it's like a whole little case it's still wrapped in from the factory. I'm gonna have to get this off, pull it out. I don't want to mess anything up, especially my hard lines, but this is old and brittle wiring. See if I can move it out of the way. You know, there comes a point where you just want to take off the hood. But I'm by myself at the moment, so can't quite do that yet. And this I guess I could take off this plastic, but it fits so nice in here. If someone else wanted to put it on, it would be, I mean, perfect OE fit. I really don't want to mess that up. Let's take off this, looks like a vacuum. Oh, got to stay true to form. Bolt back where it was so I don't lose it. I may never use this bolt again, but if I have it here, then I find a use for maybe wiring it or finding the looming it up right here, and I can use that hose or that bolt to help. Might as well use it. And this should give us enough play just to get the wiring harness around. And I would say, just take your time. And don't get it caught on stuff. There we go. All right, that helps a lot. The engine harness is out. That was easy enough. They have no real wires. Obviously I might have like alternator I still got to take off. This ground is not connected to anything. And we have over on the other side all these wires are off. Wires over there are off. Have the harness completely all over to the side.